Hello everyone, how are you all? Welcome to the class students. Today we will continue the topic rusting in physical and chemical change. We know that rusting is a chemical change when any iron object that damp in air for considerable time, a red brown flaky substance deposited on it, and that is called the rust. And this process is called the rusting of iron. During rusting of iron metals combined with oxygen to form Fe2O3, that is there is iron oxide, and rust is different from iron on which it gets deposited. Here you are seeing it, rusting process. Now rusting of iron is a chemical process. It is chemical change because a new substance, that is iron oxide, which is formed. It can be prevented by painting, greasing, etc. And a process is there, galvanization. It can also prevent the rusting. What is galvanization? To depositing a coating of zinc metal over its surface. This process is called the galvanization. Our next heading is burning. The burning, that is also an example of chemical changes, like burning of papers, burning of matchsticks. Entirely new substance such as carbon dioxide and water vapor smokes is formed in the burning. Now an experiment is to demonstrate the rusting of iron. You are seeing here how rusting is done in presence of water and air. Now next one is importance of chemical changes. Chemical changes are important for us. It is used in extraction of metals. Medicines also prepared by the chemical changes, and materials such as plastic, soaps, perfumes, they are also produced by the chemical changes. And every new materials that is formed by studying different type of chemical changes. Next one is difference between physical and chemical changes. So physical changes, that are in physical changes no new substance is formed, but in chemical change new substances are formed. In physical changes it is temporary, but chemical change is permanent. A physical change is easily reversible, and a chemical change is usually irreversible. A very little energy is absorbed or given out in physical change, but in chemical change energy, light, sound, etc. absorbed or given out in chemical changes. Same substances can undergo a physical changes or a chemical changes depending upon the conditions. For example, tearing of a sheet of paper into pieces of paper is a physical change. Now the melting of wax is a physical change. So number of examples are given here for the physical changes. During burning, wax combined with oxygen to producing the light, heat, and carbon dioxide and water vapor. The burning of wax and the cotton thread is a chemical change. Now next one is here chemical changes, characteristics and examples are given here. The characteristics, you will find that new substance is formed in chemical changes and it is permanent change, and chemical change is generally irreversible. And examples: burning of papers, rusting of iron, spoilage of food materials, etc. Now changes involving energy. You know, we have learned that the change in such substances does not occur on its own. There is always a cause which bring about the change in substances. You may have observed that energy is released in the form of heat when any fuel is burnt or a matchstick is burnt. Similarly, there are various changes in which energy is absorbed in the form of heat. For example, when ice cubes placed in a beaker melts, in energy is absorbed and in the form of heat, and beaker become cold. So based on energy, changes can be classified in exothermic and endothermic. The first is exothermic changes. So those changes in which energy is evolved, that means energy comes out, that is called the exothermic changes. And when example is when quicklime is added in water, washing here For whitewash of walls, bubbles are formed and heat is also evolved. In this reaction, a new substance, calcium hydroxide, that is CaOH whole twice, is formed, that is calcium hydroxide. Next one is the endothermic changes. So these changes in which energy is absorbed in the form of heat, that is called the endothermic changes. Some of the endothermic changes are given here, like melting of ice in evaporation of water, changes into water vapor by absorbing heat, and when ammonium chloride is dissolved into water, energy is absorbed in the form of heat and this reaction and solution becomes cold. Now we can say that a change cannot take place without the involvement of energy. Energy is always involved in change in one or another form. For example, light energy is used for photosynthesis process. However, in the change is it is difficult to notice the energy change. For example, changes of seasons, blooming of flowers, etc. But energy is always involved in these changes in one or another forms. Now next one is keywords. You will learn it with the help of book and another questions which are given here in book that you will find in given notes. Students, your chapter is finished. Thank you everyone.